In your experience, what are the most common obstacles to achieving a constructive culture?
Without trying to sound numerous, the most common obstacle is culture. People naturally try to change the culture of their organizations in a way that's consistent, unfortunately, with their current culture. And when that happens, people within the organization see that once again, the way the organization works is either to be aggressive or to be passive, and they really do not get into the cultural change process. So, among other things, over the next year or two, I'm going to be looking at how organizations carry out cultural change, either in constructive, passive, or aggressive ways. And if I come up with anything intelligent, I'll share it with all of you. Need a little bit of time to do that. In the meantime, though, one thing that I do know and I have seen over and over again, if you're using the organizational culture inventory, it should be used in a constructive way. So in other words, just for example, people should not be forced to complete the inventory. We want them to feel empowered and feel that it's voluntary and part of their own development. The results, for example, should be confidential. If we do that, they'll answer honestly and you'll actually have data which can be used to change the culture.
Thank you. How about from you three? I'll just whoever. So what's the biggest obstacle?
Yeah, look, I'll just a couple of quick observations. First of all, you just got to be careful of jargon. I think people smell the flavour of the month very, very quickly, and everyone's seen corporate initiatives and tools getting rolled out very, very quickly that don't last, very long. I think you've got to make sure that it's leader-led. It's obviously, walking the talk makes it absolutely crucial. And I think also when it's seen as just being the purvey of the HR department rather than being part of the organisation, I think it tends to narrow it down very quickly. So making sure that you get a broad cross-sectional buy-in, I think, is important to getting it to stick.
Yeah, I completely agree with what gets in the way of culture change is culture. So the norms and conditions that exist within your organisation, you actually have to move into. So one of the obstacles that I've seen in my experience would be that as leaders we get really passionate and clear about what the future can look like and what the either vision or the purpose or the type of culture we're wanting to create. But what we sometimes forget is we have to meet the organisation where it is rather than actually where we want it to be. So really meeting your people where they're at and having empathy and understanding for what the organisation is going through at that time rather than actually just moving to that aspirational state, which of course you need to be inspirational and aspirational, but actually really connecting with the people where they're at rather than where you want them to be, I think is probably something that's pretty important.
Very good.
Absolutely, those themes would resonate with me. I think you can't underestimate the inherent fear that the human being has when change and challenge is put in front of them. So I think you really have to do an awful lot to drive confidence and encouragement and run events and all sorts of different dynamics and different forms of communication and use different examples and continually tell stories and give context and give personal experience to give it context and for people to understand that change is hard, it's exciting, it's scary, and that's why it's so much fun when you achieve it.